In 3, 2, 1.
I'm Jerry Truppiano, and you're listening to the I Love Shanny Show. Oh, Shanny, are you home?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's I Love Shanny Show. I've got a very special guest that I had the pleasure of meeting at the NAMM show. Okay, this guy is multi-talented from songwriting to keyboards to producing. Let's welcome Claudio Pesavento. Welcome, Claudio. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And to all of my listeners out there, Claudio has played in bands such as Foreigner, Chris Squire, Dokken, Mahogany Rush, and so much more. Multi-talented and a super nice guy. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
I'm glad that I'm being here on the show with you. I mean, I've been trying to do this a long time ago.
I know it.
For some reason,
Well, it was so nice to meet you in person. You are just so wonderful. And I was just like, wow. And I absolutely loved your sunglasses. Your sunglasses were amazing with the blue shades. Super cool.
I like them because I can see at night.
Oh, really? So there's a trick to a blue lens at night.
Well, these glasses basically that I use I got them on purpose because a lot of times, I look too tired, I don't want people to see me looking tired, so basically, but if I put sunglasses, that I'm not gonna see nothing at night. So these ones are perfect because I can see at night, so yeah.
Well, very cool. So, Claudio, I would like to start out with a question of kind of getting to know you a little bit. And what was your exposure to music when you were younger?
Well, in Argentina, when I was born, I had like a small radio, I guess, and then they were playing the Beatles a lot on the radio. That was in the 60s. I was a little kid, so I was like maybe 5, 6 years old. And they were playing all the time the Beatles, and then after that, it was like all the American stuff, James Taylor, Carole King, you name it. Those days, Jimi Hendrix, Woodstock, all the stuff, Janis Joplin, The Doors, Deep Purple, in the beginning of 70, that was one of the bands that really got me into playing keyboards too, Mm-hmm. But number one, it was the Beatles, obviously. So I went to school, and they make you to choose something to make an exposition about something that you like. So I chose the Beatles. So I have a friend that was working on this magazine in Argentina. They let me borrow all the photos and stuff related to the Beatles, all the black and whites from Revolver, all the albums. So I was able to make an exposition, and I had the music, the audios, and everything. So that was my first experience with music, basically. But at the time I was playing soccer. I wanted to be a soccer player. So when I was 12, I had my big chance to join this team in Argentina that's very popular. I didn't play for 1 month. I wasn't playing that much at school. All of the reasons. So I got the chance to go there. I couldn't see the ball. I was out of shape. So basically, they said, sorry, next. So I was crying all day there. And then my family got a piano at the house, and suddenly I started to play the piano. I learned Imagine from John Lennon. That was the first one that I learned on the piano.
Oh, wow.
The black notes, because I was playing the black notes, because the black notes always sound harmonic and melodic. So was the beginning. Basically, I put all my emotions into music. I started to play, I started to write songs on my own, basically. I mean, just happens. I have the connection with writing songs and, learning the piano. So I play by ear. So basically, I never study piano or music.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Yeah, that's like really amazing. So what was your first band like in Argentina, and what was that like to take those piano skills and put them onto the keyboard and then actually go to a band with it?
Well, I went, for the first 2 years, I was always, locked on my room, and I was just writing songs, singing, whatever. And I went to see my first live show. I was 13 years old. I went to see Santana in Argentina. They play there.
Nice.
It was amazing. And I went to see Woodstock, So all that had to do a lot with it, I just got inspired by all that. And I never expected it was going to become my career. But the moment was when I started to listen to, Yes, Genesis, Chick Corea, Mahavishnu, all those bands, in the 70s that they give you a challenge to become a better player, because, jazz fusion and all the stuff, it requires technique and more dedication. It's not just like playing chord changes. So I remember I was going to this jazz club in Buenos Aires that I see all these guys playing. I said, wow, I like the way they're playing. I want to play like that. So basically, it's about improvisation. Basically, you get to play solo. You have to play whatever happens in the moment. You can't just plan that,
Mm-hmm.
So I learned how to play by improvising and when jamming on all those jams on jazz club. That's how I started basically to become more, better player. When I started to play fusion, jazz, rock, progressive rock. So, yeah, that's what happens. I have a long story to tell you, but I don't think you have enough time.
No, please tell me the story, please.
Well, I wasn't sent at the right place at the wrong time. Basically, I was meet the right people at the right place, whatever. I mean, I was going out. I was very young. I wanted to play. That's why my passion was to play the piano and to play synthesizer. That. And I have 5 sisters that the old piano teachers. They all studied for 7 years. They never play music. They just went to the conservatory and learned it. But it was not meant to be for them. I was the one who became a musician. So it was interesting, because I don't know how to read music, and I play music basically. And all those girls, all my sisters, they study all the year. They know how to read and all the stuff, but they never approach music as a career. So, yeah. So then I started to hang out in places that people that I like as musicians, their bands. I started to get acquainted with these people. Suddenly the chance appeared, hey Claudio, we need a keyboard player, So I never played with a band before. So, okay, no problem. I go. So I went there, and then, I took a chance. Basically, I wasn't afraid to fail, but basically, I feel like all my life, I was guided by something. This always was a guide. A spiritual guide, I don't know if he was a ghost or something. A lot of people, some women that do, how you call it, they do readings, about people, about reincarnations or whatever.
Yep.
So they told me that I was a reincarnation of piano player from France. France Liszt, or whatever. So anyway, I never think anything about it, but like 5 years ago, I started to look on the internet and said, well, I want to see how he looks, And then he looks just like me.
Oh, wow. That is so cool.
It's weird. So yeah. So that's what happened. Anyway, so I went to my first show. I was playing with a famous guitarist from Argentina, and blues player and rock player. His name was Papo. He played with later in the 90s. He played with B.B. King. So he was a great guitar player, and I played with him my first show. Actually, I never played before with anybody. I was interested, just like wow. So I got that done, and then I went to another band. It was more like a progressive rock. I said, sure, I can play. So basically, everything becomes like a big improvisation in my life, basically, because I didn't have any plan how to approach or anything. Only thing I remember, I was listening every day. I was listening to Yes, Genesis, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, the main bands that I was listening to, or the Beatles, obviously. But as an instrumentalist, as a keyboard player, I was attracted to, Genesis and Yes and Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock, Jet Beck, all those bands. And then I got the chance to practice a lot. Not practice, but, I was just fooling around a lot because I learned how to playing the wrong notes, basically. Every time I played the wrong note, I say, okay, that one is not good. So that's why I learned to play. So my next band was a progressive rock band. So bass player, he ended up playing with Pat Metheny. He was a multi-instrumentalist. His name was Pedro Aznar. He ended up playing with Pat Metheny in 1982. I was on tour with Mahogany Rush. So I was playing in Germany. And the day before, he was playing with Pat Metheny in the same spot. I said I couldn't believe it. I didn't see this guy in like 5 years, and suddenly we crossed paths on Europe and Germany. So I had a band with him, and then after that, I was a little disappointed about because it's hard to keep bands together, So finally, I was playing with 5 bands at the same time. One was I was singing, I was playing my songs. That band began to be very popular in Argentina. Then I have another band that was playing like Latin rock fusion. Also was very popular, but I wasn't singing. I was just a keyboard player. Then I played another band with a very popular singer, Luis Spinetta of Argentina. He was one of the idols that I ever had when I was growing up. In the Spanish rock, him and David Lebon, those guys I always look up to, So I ended up playing with all them. I ended up playing with every musician that I were like my idols. So it was incredible, just, so then I was playing with so many bands at the same time. It was like, it was hard to deal with it, but because I have a Fender Rhodes, like a keyboard that really weighs a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy to carry around. So I remember I did crazy stuff because I was bringing the piano on a bus, on a train, to go to rehearse to other places, right? So I was playing with 5 bands, and I had 5 rehearsals.
Wow.
It was crazy.
I couldn't imagine that. And keeping track of all the music.
No, not only that, it's just, I was having fun, but the thing is that I had to carry that keyboard. That's fucking heavy keyboard. When I tell people the story, they don't believe it, because you cannot bring this piano on the bus, but I did. So anyway, so my band, that I was singing and playing keyboards, we ended up opening up for Queen in 1980 in Argentina. So I met this girl. She was a translator for the band Queen. So she saw me playing and she said, "Oh, you should come to North America. You're too good for this to play here." I didn't believe what she said, but basically, just 5 months later, she sent me a contract from her brother. He owns a recording studio in Canada, in Montreal. So basically, the week before, I was playing this big festival for 100,000 people in Buenos Aires. It was for they have a war going on between England and Argentina for the islands, the Falkland Islands. I call them the fucking islands. But yeah. So anyway, I played that show, and the next thing I know, I get this contract on my. The embassy sent me, the Canadian embassy sent me, you have an offer to come to Canada, blah, blah, blah. So for me, it was tough to decide because, I have a girlfriend and I really was very much close, spiritually and everything. And my family and my bands and all the stuff that I was attached to Argentina. So I decided to go for 3 months to see what happened. So I didn't tell anybody until 1 week before I took off. So I ended up in Canada. It was weird because I had 3 cats. Like these cats. I had to sell one of my keyboards to buy them a ticket, because you have to pay for the tickets for the cuts, so,
Right.
Yeah, so it was crazy because here I am in another country, I don't speak French or English, and I was like, it was interesting, I had to, basically I got to start from zero, so here I am, then I am in a recording studio, I'm working, doing sessions for some customers there, and one day the drummer from my whole garage came to the studio and they told me, "Oh, Jimmy, I want to play with you a couple of songs," so I played my songs, and then he played drums and we recorded and then we became friends, and he told me that my whole garage was looking for a keyboard player. So he told me if you wanted to audition. I said, sure. So they have I think it was like 21 other keyboard players. The audition, they all were French, and I was the only one from Argentina. I got the gig. All the French guys got pissed off, because I come from another country and taking their gig. So yeah. So 3 months later, I was on tour with Mahogany Rush, basically with Aerosmith, AC/DC, you name it. We played with Queen, and it was crazy.
Wow.
That was the beginning, and then we played with a lot of bands, but just to mention some. But it was very interesting to see Queen again, and like it was weird just to be on the same stage, So that's it. That's how I started to play in North America. So my contract to work was for 6 months. So I had to renew my contract every 6 months. I had to get a new visa. So immigration was tough, just to go. I had to go to New York, stay there for a couple of weeks, and come back to Canada. Unless I was on tour, then I have a longer visa. But in the between days of the touring, I had to go back to Montreal, or I had to stay in New York. So it wasn't easy, but I had fun playing music, definitely. And when I was playing, this was a very magical experience because, I play with the loudest guitar player ever. my first show, I have like a small amplifier, Roland,
Mm-hmm.
that I used to play, like a jazz gig, so a jazz fusion for. I say, I cannot hear myself, I have to get something. So and the week after I got Marshall amplifiers, the guitar amplifiers, like very loud. So I was able to play. I was very loud on stage. I had so much fun,
Oh,
every night, every night was like a big challenge, Those days was more about musicianship, It wasn't about like today, it's about technology, you can fake stuff, but just live is live, You have to play perfect. That's it.
That is very true. So what was your favorite decade to play music in? What do you think, it was the 80s or the 90s or?
Well, the 80s was great and the 90s were good too. In 2000, I was playing with this band. Sorry. I work in Montreal. I record with Celine Dion. I was working with Aldo Nova, the singer from April Wine, my good band. I did a lot of stuff in Montreal too. But basically, when I moved to the States, I started to get work. When I was in Canada, I was working with Chris Squire for years. I did a couple of movie soundtracks, I met him in New York in 1993, and we became really good friends. Anyway, so I moved to LA in 2019. Right away, I got a gig with a band called Heaven and Earth. I don't know if you hear of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was playing with Glenn Hughes, Kelly Hansen, the singer that sings with Fauna now. Kelly Hansen, I was singing. Kelly Killing, was also one of the singers. Richie Sambora played guitar in a couple songs, and a number of great players playing that thing. Jolene Turner he also was, he sings in couple songs. So I was in Heaven and Earth for like 2 years. Then I was hanging out with Kelly Killen, the singer. You know him?
The name sounds familiar. What band is he from?
He was in a band called Baton Rouge, and he was also, he sings with Michael Schenker, and he sings with Blue Murder. He was in the band with John Sykes. He was the keyboard player, and he was singing podcast, I guess. So I was hanging out at his hotel in Redondo Beach. So he took off. So he disappeared for like a day. So I said, well, what's going on with him? Somebody called at the hotel, and I answered the phone. I met him before, and Don Doc, and he called. So he asked me, where's Kelly? He had to come to the studio to record this song with me. He was going to play the piano, so Don know me because I was playing with Heaven and Earth. He came to a couple shows, and we played Breaking the Chains, that song. We played with him that song. We have different people showing on stage, and we have like the guy from REO Speedwagon, Gary Richard, and we play a couple songs from his band also. And we have Steve Priest, the guy from Sweet. We play some of Sweet songs too on our set. And Keith Emerson also showed up to play a couple songs too. So what happened is that Don asked me, oh, listen, if Kelly's not there, you want to come to the studio and play some piano? I said, sure. I didn't know what I was going to play, but basically, I just went for it. I went to the studio, and Don showed me the chord changes of this song that he needs a piano. So I learned the chord changes, and then he took off. So I was there alone for 2 hours, doing some takes, and when he came back, he said, great, sounds great, that's it. I got paid, whatever. And when the album came out, this is something I didn't tell anybody.
Mm-hmm.
The melodies that I was playing with the piano melodies, he was singing the same thing. Basically, I wrote the song, almost. But yeah.
That's great.
I never told him that, but basically, yeah. I just was surprised that we were singing on the same notes at the same time, but we weren't together. I play alone. When the album came out, I heard his vocal, and I said, wow, how do we sound so good together? Anyway, that's my story.
Well, I really like that story. It was like going on a little adventure with you. I've got to say, you've played so many different genres of music. And out of all the sounds that you've been exposed to, like, what is the most enjoyable for you to play and experiment with on your own time?
Well, I like music that doesn't have boundaries. Basically, you don't have to write a song that's going to sound like the usual song that people write. Most of the stuff that you hear on the radio is always the same chord changes, always the same stupid, formula that they use to sell music. I like to play stuff that is more like that nobody expects, Basically, I improvise, Sometimes, I'm inspired and something happens, I like music that is musical. It's musicality and that is good to the ears, Basically, it doesn't have to be commercial.
Mm-hmm.
I like good music, basically, I grew up listening to good music. I like John Lennon as a composer, and I like, Yes, because of Wakeman, you know. For improvising and for jamming, I like John Lord from Deep Purple, and I like, you know, all the jazz players, Chick Corea or Herbie Hancock, John Hammer, because I like to play guitar with the keyboard, basically, you know, so when I play a solo with a synthesizer, it sounds a lot like a guitar, and a lot of times, you know, some guitar players ask me, who plays guitar? I say, me. They don't like that. You play guitar with your keyboards. Why don't you hire a guitar player? Oh, because I like to play guitar with the keyboards. Whatever. That's it.
Very unique.
That's my forte, basically, when it comes to playing keyboards. You know, I can really play like a guitar player with a keyboard. You know, that's the side of it. I love it. I love to play that kind of, you know, maybe I wanted to be a guitar player, I don't know.
No, I think your tarot cards from your past life definitely had it right, Claudio. I do feel like you were meant to be a keyboard piano player, and it definitely, especially with your background, really does show your talent. And I do believe that we are where we're supposed to be. So let me ask you this. How did you get into the production side of music when you were already so busy in 6 bands and running yourself all over the place, taking care of 3 cats?
What happened is that the more you grow up, the more you become more knowledge about what sounds good and what the song needs, stuff like that. Yeah. So I was lucky to work in New York, Electric Ladyland. That's a studio that Jimi Hendrix record and all these famous bands record there. Bon Jovi record there, everywhere record there. So I was there, and I learned how to arrange, basically play for the song, not for me, for my ego, but just make the song and the singer sound good, basically. Because, you know, if you have a song, you have to play for the singer, basically. You know, you have to, everything had to be around that. But most of the times, I didn't know what I was doing. Basically, it's just magic. You know, the magic of the moment. A lot of times, I remember playing really great part for the song, and the engineer forgot to record it, you know. So he told me, can you play that again? I said, no. I don't remember what I did.
Right.
That's the thing about music, you know, sometimes when you improvise, you don't know what's going to happen, yeah. So I've been fortunate about that, but I have that some kind of angel that inspire me or, you know, play for me sometimes. I mean, I guess, you know, sometimes you just let things happen and you just go with the flow, basically, you know. But most of the times, I never plan anything. Except now that, you know, when somebody called me to do a session, you know, and I have to pay attention to, you know, what the song needs. But still, most of my technique and my feeling comes from improvising, basically. Like, you know, I'm recording 3 songs with the singer from White Lion, Mike Trump, and then I just improvise. And then I say, what do you think of this? Perfect. Okay. So I send it to them, and, you know, I let them deal with it. But I was surprised, you know, because sometimes it's just one take. You know, it takes only one take. And the production part, producing is basically like a painting, you know. It's just, you have a song and you have to just put some good colors. And whatever feels good, they just, you know, develop that. But you have to do a lot with sound also, with, you know, creativity, you know. It takes, I mean, I don't like to waste too much time, you know, looking for sounds or stuff like that. I just don't like thinking too much, but most of the times, if you're in the right moment, you can find the right feel and the right sound, you know. But it's all about the ears, you know. If you have a good ear, you know what sounds good and what sounds bad, you know. Technically, I never studied recording and stuff like that. Basically, my experience is from watching some engineers when I record with Mahoney Rush, we record with Dokken, Celine Dion, or whatever. I just pay attention to what they do, but I don't know. I don't always remember everything. You have to improvise sometimes. You have to figure it out as it goes, you know. But at the end, when it's the final mix, I give it to somebody else because if you want to make it sound perfect for the radio or yeah. So when I was living in New York, I met everybody you ever want to meet, from Robert Plant to David Bowie and Boy George. I didn't want to meet Boy George. So I didn't know the impact that has in my career, and the fact that I play with Mahoney Rush. Like the band is very well known around musicians, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was talking to Robert Plant, he knew Mahoney Rush. Like I didn't know he knew it, but he did. Wherever. And David Bowie, all these guys that I met in there. I met Billy Idol, Madonna. I went to audition for Madonna because I wanted to make some money. I did.
That's great.
When I was living in New York, I went to audition for her for her first tour. It was like a version tour, whatever. So I had to learn 4 songs, and I learned them. And when I went to the audition, she told me you had to cut your hair and you had to change your look if you want to play in my band. I say, no, I can't. I'm a musician. I'm a rock musician. So that's it. That was my moment. Then also they offered me to play with Billy Idol. They wanted a girl, so they wanted me to wear a wig and wear high heels. I say no. Like, so weird stuff, So, yeah, it's funny because I met a lot of bands before they made it. Like Duran Duran, I met them in Montreal. And my friend Jimmy, the drummer from Mahoney Rush, he was taking them out when they play in Montreal. He took them out to these clubs, So I met them and hung out, and they weren't big yet. So, interesting. You can meet so many people.
Yeah, and you definitely have gotten the opportunities, and like you said, you've been put. It's like the perfect moment of the right place at the right time, and what a blessing that is. I got to ask you, like, out of everybody that you've ever worked with, like, do you ever get nervous, like, at all? And if you do, like, what's your advice for your nerves?
Well, number one is that if you have to be prepared, basically, you can't just go. And I did some auditions. I wasn't prepared. Why not just, take it or whatever. But I don't recommend that. But I don't take some bands. I don't take them seriously because it's not my kind of music. Basically, I have opportunities, but I love music. But sometimes I like to choose who I play with.
Yeah.
Playing with Chris Squire was my highlight of my career. Playing Chris Squire and Taylor Hawkins, drums, the singer from Yes, and a couple other guys that you might not know, but we played. Basically, Chris, I had cancer in 2010. I was took me like a year to recover, you know. I couldn't play for like 2 years.
Wow.
So Chris Squire called me out of it. He knew I was sick for a while. So suddenly he called me and said, "Oh, I have a gig for you." I said, "Really? Which kind of gig?" And then he sent me the list of songs, all these Yes songs and his solo album. So I had like 1 week to learn all these songs. I didn't play for 3 years. For some reason, you know, I did the gig, but basically the first day that I started trying to learn the song, my hands couldn't, you know, play at all. So I tried the next day. So I almost called him and told him that I cannot do it. So finally, I started to, every day I was trying more and more, and then my hands were starting to wake up a little bit. So I had to learn 8 songs in 1 week that I never played before. So for some reason I did learn them. I was playing like 12 hours a day basically for 1 week. So the next thing I know, he called me and said, "Well, this is the address for the rehearsal." So I didn't know nothing about it. I just went. So I went to the rehearsal in the Foo Fighters studio, you know, the Dave Grohl studio.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Norwich. I didn't know. I just got there and said, "Oh wow." And then the next thing I know, Taylor Hawkins was playing drums for the thing. Yeah. Oh. What happened here? So we rehearsed for 2 days, like 3 hours a day, and then the next thing we play at, it's called the Bass Player Live magazine. They were looking Chris Squire and Jaco Pastorius and some other bass players there. So we play. It was amazing, and that's it.
Wow.
That's what happened.
I'm very thankful that you beat cancer because you have a lot to give left in this world. And I'm so thankful that you're here, and what an opportunity to just get you forward and back again.
Yeah, I know I have blessings, you know, more than I do. It's just, you know, when I had cancer, I told my mother I was going to go back to Argentina. But for some reason, things started to happen in LA. Because when I had cancer, I was in Washington State. So basically, I was in Pullman, Washington. My friend had a recording studio there. So when I got sick, I got stuck in there, you know. So I had to go to Lewiston, Idaho for the treatment. Yeah, it was tough. So I went back to LA in March. No, actually it was July 2011. I went to see my guru. I have a spiritual master from India, and I went to see him in LA. So I drove for almost 2 days from Pullman, Washington to Los Angeles, and I saw him. I felt like getting stronger, you know. It was crazy because my idea was just to go back to Argentina. So I ended up staying in LA. I had to go back to Washington to do some tests, because you're not clear from cancer right away. You have to do a lot of tests, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and everything started to happen for some reason. So that's why I got that thing with Chris Squire. So I went to studio and started to write songs and started to get stuff going, you know. So I did a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I'm playing a lot of projects, you know. Mostly I did a lot of studio work. So, I mean, I've been playing the Ultimate Jam Night. I was playing the Whiskey. I was playing that since 2017. And before that, I was working with the drummer from Sweet, working on the rock opera. We had, I worked in that project for like 3 years. We had the singer from Roger Waters' band, Pink Floyd, you know. His name is Robbie Wyckoff. We have him, we have Joe Retta, they played with the Sweet, and he played with the Dio Disciples. And then we have Jamie Hantin, bass player, he played with David Roth, and he played with Union, the band that, sorry, Union is the band that they have with Bruce Kulick from Kiss. So, yeah, I did that.
Wow.
There's so much stuff that I get, so many stuff that I did that I even not remember now, but
That's definitely a full life.
Yeah, I did a lot of studio work. So I was waiting for the right moment to start to play my own music, but you know, so far as you know, I'm not able to do it yet, but I have a lot of recordings that I did. So currently I'm working with this guy from UK, his name is Benjamin Owen. He's really talented. We do like a 80s rock, but more like today. And we're writing songs. And I ask Desmond Child is the one that wrote all the stuff for Bon Jovi and Aerosmith and Kiss, you know him, right?
Yes.
So I contacted him like before Christmas, just before the Kiss last concert, and I asked him if he wanted to work with us, and then he told me, Claudio, you should have called me 1 week before. I retired. So he retired now, so. But he loved the stuff, he loved what we do. And then he said, how are you able to do that? Bringing back the 80s.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it. I love this. The songs are really good. And the kid sounds like it's a mix of Joe Elliott from Def Leppard. He had a bit of Bon Jovi, but not his voice, but you know, the style, you know. He's like a really good singer and good songwriter. So I wanted to mention when I was living in New York, I met Tony Thompson, was the drummer from Chic, and he was playing with David Bowie. He asked me if he wanted to try for Power Station and Duran Duran guys, and so I was going to do that, but then suddenly they got somebody else. But it was interesting because I went to the show. Robert Palmer, he didn't do the tour, he just did the album only. I used to hang out with him in New York at the Lamplight. Robert Palmer, so basically it was a party, after hour party, and after hour party, and they have, everybody was there. Bruce Hornsby, Kiss, Billy Idol, everybody was there. So when I went to the door, I had these two black guys that played with, they were great players, musicians. I didn't know who they played with, but you know, I just met them at the concert, so I took them to the party. So when I got to the door, I was on the list to get in, so I was getting in, and then I saw what's his name? Brian Ferry was outside, and they didn't want to let him in because they didn't recognize him. So I got him in, and the next day, these two black guys, bass player and drummer, said, "Hey, Claudio, we have a room at this place, you know." I said, "Oh, me too. I have a room, and it's called the Music Building. Music Building, that was on Manhattan, 38th Street and 8th Avenue, and that." I told them, "Yeah, my number is 11, and their number is 5 or 6, I forgot. Madonna used to rehearse there before she became famous. So anyway, the next day they come knocking on my door and say, Claudio, you want to come and jam? We need a keyboard player. So I go there, and I see the road cases. They say Jeff Beck Group, a Macavita Orchestra. So this guy's playing with all these musicians that I admire, like Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck was like one of my idols, Mm-hmm. But here I am playing with these guys. I never know they play with these guys, but whatever. It just happens. All this stuff happens like without planning, basically. So I end up playing the band with these guys. I end up jamming with Jeff Beck a couple times. It was crazy. It was like in 1984, 85. That's a story that I forgot to tell you. I got too many stories, but
I love it.
I didn't have to write a book.
I know. I wish you would. I wish I could keep you on here for hours and hours, because you are like a walking documentary, which is like absolutely so cool and amazing. I want to ask you about the RMA Awards. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I really want to talk about that. I could talk about you to you about, you're just so interesting, but can you tell the listeners about the RMA Awards?
Well, my friend, his name is Coleman. He had invention. He created the Timbal slide. It's like a slide you can use. You can play at the same time. You don't have to take it off your finger. And you can slide, and you can, keep playing, and you can bend, create strings, So I met him in 2017 at the NAMM show. So the next thing I know, he wanted me to be the, artist relations for the slide. He wanted me to bring musicians and introduce them to the slide, guitar players, because I know a lot of guitar players.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that the first 2 years, and then he came up with an idea, the Rock Music Alliance, because the Grammys didn't recognize rock music anymore. Basically, when you watch the Grammys, nothing to rock, progressive rock, you name it, metal. So he came up with the idea of creating the Rock Music Alliance. Basically, the Grand is it's gonna be the Grammys, but it's not the Grammys, but it's gonna be all about rock music. So we're gonna recognize rock music, basically, on all the styles, all the genres, and progressive rock, metal, whatever. He came up with the idea of that, and I was in charge again to get musicians, Because basically what the awards is about, recognized talent over, fame or popularity or sales. Basically, it's everything that we check online or bands, we just recognize the talent. It's not about being commercial or anything like that. So we're doing that, but since 2020.
That's awesome. When I seen you at your NAMM booth, I was like, wow, like this really looks like, I wanted to ask you right then and there about the RMAs, but I'm glad that I asked you here so the listeners have an opportunity to tune into them and to support the music industry and these, different types of awards that recognize talent.
We give awards. We give awards to, already we give some to, like physical awards, we give some to Orianti and Peter Strauss. But, we have a show, we did like 2 years ago, we did an online event. We have all these presenters, for all the categories, So now, this year, we're looking for a place to do a live show. Basically, the judges, the panel of judges, all is musicians, producers, and engineers, whatever. Those are the ones that decide who is the best of the best. But you don't have to be popular or famous. It could be anybody.
That's so awesome.
We're always looking and checking for new bands and people to join us on this venture, basically.
That is so awesome, Claudio. And for the listeners out there, how do they find you on like social media, or how can these wonderful listeners, become a fan of yours?
Well, for the Rock Music Alliance, is rockmusicalliance.com. It's also on Facebook, and Instagram. Me, I only have Facebook. El único Facebook is Claudio Pesavento in Facebook, and on Instagram is The Real Gallo Claudio, PHEREALGALO Claudio, CLAUDIO. That's on Instagram.
And I will make sure that I have all of your links up on my website with your flyers, so they can go to iloveshannyshow.com, and you can go right to Claudio's Instagram, Facebook, and we'll have a link up there also for the RMA awards.com. And Claudio, I could spend hours with you talking to you. You are so wonderful, so interesting. I'd love to have you back on again in the future. And thank you so much for coming on I Love Shanny Show and letting myself and the listeners really get to know you. I do have a question for you, though. If you could choose 3 songs out of all of the different artists that you've worked with to feature for the listeners, what would those 3 songs be?
The ones that I work with?
Yes.
Interesting. Well, Mahogany Rush, obviously, is a song called Strange Dreams that I play live with them, and I play on the album. That was my first tour that I did. When it comes to other bands, I did one song with Dog that I like. It's called Goodbye, My Friend. It's hard to tell, because it's a lot of stuff that people don't know that I did, obviously. I like the stuff that I did with Chris Squire, with these couple movies. I did the soundtrack with him. It's a lot of stuff I like the stuff that I'm doing with this guy from England, Benjamin. And I like the stuff that I'm recording now with Mike Trump from White Lion. I like something that sounds good. I have a feeling.
Well,
I mean, if the music don't touch you, then it's not worth really, because it's all about feeling something.
Absolutely. Well, we are going to play 2 songs here at the end of the show for the listeners, and that's going to be Mahogany Rush, Strange Dreams, and Dawkin, and Goodbye, My Friend. And I hope that you come back and see me, Claudio, and I look forward to seeing you at NAMM for surely next year. And thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's hard for me to remember everything that I did, but, basically the highlights are there.
Well, I appreciate it. You gotta do a documentary. Like, you are so amazing. I would watch like a 5-hour documentary, if not longer, on you. You are not only so nice and so talented, but I do believe that, you have a story to tell, and it's very inspirational. And thank you so much for sharing.
Can I tell you 2 things before you go?
Of course.
When I did the shows with Queen, Freddie Mercury was asking, who's that cute Argentinian boy? Who's that cute Argentinian boy? He was talking about me. I didn't know he likes guys, so I guess he did.
Uh-huh.
So anyways, so then the other one is when I was on tour with Mahogany Rush and Aerosmith, I was at the bar at the hotel, and then this blonde girl asked me if he had smoked pot. I said, no, I don't smoke pot. So I told her that my drummer and my bass player, they do smoke all the time, all day, basically. So I took her to the rooms to tell them to give her some smoke, whatever, pot,
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing I know is that the next day, Steven Tyler will say, oh, Argentinian guy trying to pick up my wife at the bar. I was his wife.
Wow.
See, that's the story.
Wow.
Yeah, I said wow too.
Yeah, it's very wild.
That's very funny, but yeah.
It is. Well, Claudio, come back on in the future, and I look forward to getting to know you more in the future. And like I said, what a pleasure to meet you at NAMM and to finally have this interview with you. And thank you so much for your time today.
You too.
All right.
Enjoy your life there on the cold.
All right, listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in to the I Love Shanny show, folks. And until next week, I'll see you all soon. Bye.
Childhood dreams to believe. is just